Hi, my name is Dr. Joe Childs. I'm a board-certified chiropractic neurologist, and on this video today we're going to talk to you about our science-based healthy weight loss program that we do here in our office. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk to you about why we're so successful in helping patients not only lose weight, but keep the weight off. We're going to unravel the mystery of weight loss for you on this video today. Before I do that, let me go over some of my qualifications. I have a long list of qualifications, lots of postgraduate education. The number one thing you should know is that I'm a board-certified chiropractic neurologist. So that basically means that I treat patients neurologically, but I treat them without drugs and surgery. I'm a doctor of chiropractic, been in practice 13 years, going on 14, with my partner Dr. Charles Durr here in Downingtown. I'm fellowship trained in functional neurology, and functional neurology is drugless neurology. It's taking care of patients with neurological based conditions without the use of, again, drugs or surgery. I'm certified in functional medicine and functional nutrition for patients with hypothyroidism and weight issues. A lot of our patients that come in that have weight issues have problems with thyroid issues, and we do a functional medicine approach or a drug-free approach for these types of patients. Fellowship trained in vestibular rehabilitation and child neurodevelopmental disorders, so I see a lot of kids that have ADD, ADHD, things like that, and I also see a lot of patients with vestibular problems. I'm also an exercise physiologist. I've been an exercise physiologist prior to becoming a chiropractor. We did a lot of work with exercise, a lot of research on exercise and its effect on fitness and weight loss and things of that nature. I'm an expert in having patients lose weight and keep it off. Now, the reason why I'm so successful, or we're so successful in our practice and having patients not only lose weight, but get healthy and keep the weight off, is we address the primary reason why they're overweight in the first place. You see, you're overweight because you're unhealthy. It's not the other way around. Now, a lot of people think they're unhealthy because they're overweight, and you're exactly right. The longer you're overweight, the less and less healthy you become. But the reason why you get overweight in the first place is because first you become unhealthy. Now, the average person in our office loses anywhere from 20 to 40 pounds in the first 3 months. We have a chronic conditions practice. I see patients with fibromyalgia, chronic pain, migraine headaches. I see patients with arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. I see patients that have autoimmune issues like Hashimoto's thyroiditis. I see patients with lupus, multiple sclerosis, neurological conditions like ADD, ADHD. I see patients with vestibular problems that they lose their balance and things like that. Patients with chronic vertigo. I see the worst of the worst. I see patients that have been everywhere and have tried everything and they don't get better. These are the type of people that we see in our office. So I'm not just your crack and pop type chiropractor where I'm only dealing with back and neck pain. I'm dealing with some of the toughest cases. And I will tell you that in my 14 years of practice, I would say that there's no single thing that affects your body more than being at your ideal body weight. If you're overweight, it's going to adversely affect your health. Okay? Patients that are at their ideal body weight, or getting them to their ideal body weight, is incredible. It helps with almost everything. It affects your cardiovascular system, your heart, your lungs, your pulmonary system. It helps with type 2 diabetes. We're going to talk about type 2 diabetes today. It helps with high cholesterol. It helps with inflammation and joint pain. It helps with depression. It helps with sexual dysfunction. It helps with poor energy. I mean, the list goes on and on of the effects of being either overweight or at your ideal body weight. When you're not at your ideal body weight, your health is really, really decaying, and it's happening very rapidly. Now, one thing about this video is I'm not going to sit here and tell you right now, very important to understand, there's going to be no gimmicks. I'm not going to tell you, well, you need to take this one pill, and this one pill is going to help you. Or you need to go on this diet alone, one size fits all, and this diet's going to help you lose weight. You've all heard of these gimmicks, things like that, or this surgery, or whatever. I mean, if you look at bypass surgery, gastric bypass, 5 out of 6 out of 200 people die right on the operating table with that surgery. Look up the statistics. So we're not going to give you some diet where you're going to lose all this weight and gain it back twofold. We're going to teach you how to truly lose weight. Okay? So let's talk now. So what's your biggest frustration with your weight? How many of you have tried the fad diets, have tried the Hollywood diet, this diet, the South Beach diet, you name all the different diets, and gained all their weight back again? How many people have been told that you're lazy, you need to exercise more, right? How many people think that they're doing the right things, but no matter what they do, they lose. They can't gain it. They can't lose any weight. Or we all know the skinny person that eats whatever they want, McDonald's, this, that, and the other, and they stay thin. Or we know the person that's doing everything perfect. They're eating perfectly, at least from what they've been told, and they're exercising, but they're still heavy. You know that. Some of you are probably that way listening here. We're going to talk about that. Now, if you're overweight or obese in America, you're not alone. Presently in the United States, 34% or 1 in 3 adults is obese. 70% or about 1 in 6 children is obese. 68% of adults and 33% of our children are considered overweight. 68% of our population is overweight. All right? The rate of obese adults has doubled since 1980, and the rate of obese children has tripled since 1980. This is why we've got more type 2 diabetes. This is why we have kids that can't focus in school, and yada, yada, yada. Obesity today. It's reached epidemic proportions. Obesity packs many negative health effects. Again, increased heart disease, increased type 2 diabetes, increased hypertension, increased certain cancers, increases in inflammation, decrease in sexual activity, decreased quality of life and longevity, lower self-esteem and self-confidence, and rapid spine and posture degeneration. Now, the worst thing you can say to yourself is that these things are not happening to you. If you are overweight or obese, these things are happening in your body, and it's very dangerous to sit down and say, oh, you know what, I don't think it's happening to me. The bottom line is this is happening to you. Your quality of life is going to be diminished every year that you live overweight. Now, let's talk about your body mass index. Your body mass index is a good marker of your health, and what it does is it looks at your height and it looks at your weight. It's pretty simple. You can look it up. You can Google body mass index. I have a chart right here. So let's say you're 5'3". Okay? You should weigh 107 pounds, 135 pounds. If you're 141 pounds to 169 pounds, you're considered overweight. If you're 175 to 197, you're considered obese. And when you're obese, that means you're really pushing the danger zone for having a lot of things that can really adversely affect your health. Again, I'll give you another height. Let's say you're 5'8". You should be between 125 and 157. If you're anywhere from 164 to 230, you're either overweight or obese. If you're 6'1", let's talk about a taller person, 144 to 182. If you're 189 to 227, you're overweight. If you're 235 to 265, you're considered obese, or even more. Okay? So you can kind of take a look at that. Google that. You'll see where you stand. Big indicator of health. Now, before this presentation, it was not your fault that you were overweight, because the bottom line is you've been given some bad advice. And you've been given bad advice from the people that stand to profit the most from you being overweight and unhealthy. And namely, I'm talking about the food companies and the drug companies. All right? So let's talk a little bit more. Let's go over some examples of what we've been misled. Grains. Now, we've all been told that eating wheat and rice and corn and bread and cereal and pasta is good for you. We've been told that grains are the staff of life. The U.S. government recommends 6 to 11 servings a day. You know what the main export, one of the main exports in this country is wheat. It's supposed to provide, as far as the misleading information, it's supposed to provide our muscles with energy, and we should choose whole grains. But here's what science says. Science says that grains drive excess insulin production. It drives fat storage. It drives heart disease. They found out that through studies that grains are highly allergenic, and they affect your immune system. They cause autoimmune issues. And that 1/3 of us, of the U.S. population, is gluten intolerant, sensitive to the protein found in grains. Whole grains are possibly worse. Now everybody says, well, I eat whole grains. But whole grains are sometimes worse, and the reason why is they can become very inflammatory to your gut, and they can affect your immune system. Now, we've all heard of saturated animal fat, and we shouldn't eat animal fat. You know, we've all been told, limit the intake. It increases the risk of heart disease. Eating meat makes you fat. Replace saturated fats with polyunsaturated vegetable oils. But here's what science is finding out, that it's not true. There's little or no association with heart disease. That came from the Framingham and Nurses' Health Studies. Should be a major source of calorie intake, is what they're finding out. It promotes efficient fat metabolism. The major risk for heart disease is metabolic syndrome. It's high insulin, driven by polyunsaturated fatty acids, low omega-3s, high carbs, and excess insulin, an overly stressed lifestyle. That is the issue not saturated animal fat. Cholesterol, we're all told to limit the intake. Elevated levels is going to increase heart disease. Statin drugs, we need to take statins. We've all these years of taking statins, the Zocors, the Lipitors. We're still finding that people have just as much heart disease. It's not really helping us. They're also saying that we should do preemptive statins, so meaning you get on statins before you have heart disease. They're even putting kids on statins nowadays. It's a little twisted when you think about it. Now science is finding out that cholesterol is an essential metabolic nutrient. It's good for your brain. There's little or no relevance to heart disease risks, and that's from the same Framingham and Nurses Health Studies. It's only dangerous when you have oxidation and inflammation. So if you have high cholesterol and you have oxidation and inflammation, that's when it's going to be a problem. And statins have a disastrous effect in your body. There's so many patients that come into my office with chronic pain, and it's from their statin they're taking. All right? So cholesterol is not really as big of a bad guy as we think it is. Eggs. Don't eat eggs. High cholesterol. What we've been told. Minimize the consumption. Eat just the white. Well, what they're finding out is there's zero correlation with heart disease or cholesterol levels, and the yolk is actually extremely nutritious. It actually has things that actually lower cholesterol levels. Choline and inositol. Fiber. We've been told eat more whole grain fiber. It improves GI function, they've said, that it lowers cholesterol, it speeds elimination. But what science is finding out is that the incidental fiber from fruit and vegetables is where we should be getting it. We should be getting it from fruits and vegetables, not so much from grains. They're finding out that excess fiber from grains contributes to nutrition deficiencies by inhibiting nutrient absorption. It also hampers GI function. How many times have you eaten a lot of fiber and you feel all bloated and inflamed? That's what I'm talking about. Okay? So where has all this great advice been given? We've all been told to eat whole grains, low fat, yada, yada, yada. 1997, we ranked 34th in healthcare. 2000, we ranked 37th. In 2007, we ranked 48th. In 2009, according to the World Health Organization, we were 50th. U.S. ranked 41 in life expectancy. That's years lived healthy without chronic issues. We spend more on healthcare than any other country in the world, and we have the worst health of any other country. So something is wrong. 1 in 4 will die from heart disease, 1 in 4 will die from cancer, 1 in 3 will develop diabetes, which is just skyrocketing. That's because of all the whole grains we're supposed to be eating, or grains, which even a lot of people eat only white flour, which is worse. 1 in 3 women are clinically depressed. Wonder why? 1 in 6 couples are infertile. 1 in 6 kids have neurological issues. 1 in 8 have an autoimmune disease. 1 in 8 women have a thyroid problem. These are called chronic diseases. And we lead the ligament in this country. So something is definitely wrong. The advice you've been following is not good. So, where's the problem? Well, the problem lies in this. We're supposed to be having 6 to 11 servings of bread, 6 to 11 servings of rice, and all these starches. That drives insulin. This is what we need to be eating more and more of this. We need to eat more vegetables and more meats. Vegetables, fruit, meat, and not so much dairy. See, this actually needs to be flipped around and put dairy in with the bread. Now, the advice you've been given is just plain wrong. This is what I want you to understand, is you are overweight because you were unhealthy. You got unhealthy first, then you got overweight, then you got more and more and more and more unhealthy. So, we must improve your health if you desire to lose weight. It's absolutely essential. So what makes our program different is it's not a typical one-size-all weight loss program. There's no prepackaged meals. There's no calorie counting. In fact, I want you to eat. We're going to talk about what to eat. We got to find out what's wrong with your body first. It's not about exercising over and over and over again. It's not about starving you. It's not about some of these big chains of different weight loss companies where they give you calorie restriction. That's why people gain all the weight back after they lose the weight. It's because all they're doing is calorie restriction. What makes our program different? This program is about finding out why you're unhealthy. It's about fixing your metabolism and allowing you to lose and burn fat. It's about teaching you how to make the right food choices. We've got to teach you how to make the right food choices. It's about returning you to the lifestyle you deserve. Now, to do our program, you must be willing to make a lifestyle change. You're going to have to make a lifestyle change. It's not going to be, we're not just going to starve you, understand that, but we're going to teach you how to eat. Number two, you must be willing to take personal responsibility for your health. Now, the reason why that's so important is a lot of people think their health is somebody else's responsibility. Your health is your responsibility. If you follow only what your typical doctor is telling you to do, you're probably going to end up unhealthy. We got to look at that. And number three, you must believe that you can lose weight. You got to believe in yourself, and you must believe that you can be healthy. You must believe that you deserve to be healthy, that you deserve to lose the weight. A lot of you are sort of broken down. You've been overweight a long time. Maybe you've had some things in your childhood where you had abuse or you had mental abuse and you have really poor self-esteem. You really need to look at that. Now, I'm not a psychologist. I don't claim to be one, but you need to really look at and really realize that you really deserve to be your best. Okay? So metabolism. We're going to talk a little about metabolism. Metabolism is taking large molecules and breaking them down, taking proteins and fats and things like that and using them for energy. Basically, it's how well you burn fat. All right? So the big question is, why are you struggling to lose weight? Let's talk about it. Well, here it is. And I'm not sure if you can see this on the video, but this is your fat loss web. Each one of these things here. We got blood sugar imbalances. We have to check you for adrenal dysfunction. Adrenals are the glands that sit on top of your kidneys. Is your gut not working right? Do you have thyroid issues? Do you have autoimmunity? Do you have hormone imbalances? Is your immune system imbalanced? Not balanced. Do you have liver dysfunction? Now, your liver is where you really manufacture carbohydrates, is where you pack carbohydrates, where it really is the very most important aspect of your body for burning fat. Brain dysfunction, cellular dysfunction, mind-body issues. These are all the things that bring in this fat loss web. Okay? This is why you can't lose weight. We have to figure out which one is your issue. You may be a problem that has a blood sugar issue and a gut dysfunction. You may have gut dysfunction and adrenal dysfunction. You may have brain dysfunction. Every patient is different. Now, all of your chronic conditions, your weight loss issues, your insulin resistance, your diabetes, your fibromyalgia, your migraine headaches, your autoimmune conditions, your rheumatoid arthritis, you name it, they all have common threads. They all have blood sugar issues, imbalance, insulin imbalance, leptin resistance. We'll talk about leptin. It's a hormone. Adrenal problems, immune and autoimmunity and inflammation issues, gut issues, anemia, you name it. They have all these things that are causing them. So again, we see chronic conditions, but I would love to just see somebody with a lot of patients that need to lose weight. Just getting to them at their ideal body weight helps tremendously with a lot of these issues. So let's talk a little bit about blood sugar. When you eat food, food is converted into fuel, glucose, and it's excreted. So you excrete the waste and you convert your fuel into glucose. Glucose is used for instant energy, or it's stored. If it's stored, it turns into either glycogen, which is stored in your muscles and your liver, or it's stored as fat. Okay? Now, you take in food, you make blood glucose. When you make blood glucose, then your pancreas secretes insulin. Insulin will take the glucose, take it to your cells, and you need the insulin with the glucose to get into your cells. You have a little receptor on your cell, which then accepts the glucose combined with the insulin. That's how it gets into your cell. The glucose has to get into your cell if it's going to be burned and used for energy. Does that make sense? So you need insulin to get it in there. Now, insulin will escort the glucose into your cells, or insulin will store the excess glucose in your blood as fat. Now, when you have a diet that's laden with grains and high sugar and things like that, and dairy and food sensitivities, you get a big insulin response for that. And so you get way, way too much insulin. Now, insulin's inflammatory, which means it creates a swelling in your body, but the insulin, as it's there longer, it will make the cells that are receptors or they're able to detect the insulin, they become resistant. If insulin's always there, then you start to not really notice it anymore. So it becomes resistant. So we get insulin resistant. So you eat food, you make insulin. Too much insulin over a period of time will make your cells resistant to insulin. So now, when you eat food, because the cells are insulin resistant, the insulin can't get the sugar into the cell, so now you have high blood sugar. And that's how you get like type 2 diabetes. Now that blood sugar, as it goes higher, because the cells are resistant to insulin, what will happen is it will store as fat, and when it stores as fat, you start adding more fat, but then you also get more tired and hungry because the energy can't get into the cell. So you're tired, hungry, and so you start craving sweets.